should start by acknowledging that today Uber Eats does not make money.
Janelle Salinave is head of Uber Eats.
We've been very public about the fact that it's not yet profitable.
And neither are her competitors.
The platforms themselves lose a ton of money in the hundreds of millions of dollars, billions collectively.
Why does this business even make sense?
I'm not sure it does.
So I think this is something that a lot of people don't understand, is that currently right now, most of these companies, they're not making any money. They are valued at a huge amount of money because it's almost like Tesla. Tesla before wasn't making any money, but the reason the company grew so fast is for the idea that people know in the future they will be making money. So people are investing in the company knowing it's a good business model. But right now, it's not a good business model.
Old menus in a drawer form of delivery set certain firm limits. It involved one restaurant directly hiring a delivery worker who then delivered food to a limited area.
Back in the day, we used to have services that would only deliver food to you if you were close enough to them. My house, I live in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the woods. I was never allowed to get any other delivery from anywhere. I think there was one pizza place that was like 10 miles away that sometimes delivered to me, but sometimes it's like, no, that's too far. You know, we're not going to make any money from this. And there was no delivery fees. Once we get something like DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats, there's so many delivery fees because they have to do that. It makes sense to do that. Everyone thinks, oh, we're getting fees out of the ass. Yeah, no shit. You're asking a delivery person to deliver 20 miles from you, sometimes even more. Of course there's going to be fees. This was never possible back in the day. Back in the day, it was only a small amount of restaurants that delivered in general, let alone some of these big companies. And now you're asking them to go more than 5 miles. That makes no sense. So obviously right now they're not making any money.
Uber Eats bought Postmates, DoorDash bought Caviar, and Grubhub merged with Seamless. In fact, Grubhub and DoorDash alone comprise more than 20 companies that once competed with one another.
Not only that, but like John said, they are buying up the competitors. It's like Amazon. Amazon, when they first did deliveries, there was a whole bunch of competitors. Now there's no competitors. They monopolized it. Once you monopolize something, people are going to be more okay with delivery fees. People are going to be more okay to say it's more of the norm to be able to pay for this amount of service, which it is. Again, this is a service you are paying for.
Call this the millennial lifestyle subsidy, right? Every single time that you're using DoorDash or using Uber, you're getting a little bit of money back from these companies. They're saying, we're never going to charge you as much as the service actually costs. So I think it's ironic, I think it's interesting, and I also think it just can't last.
So this is a super interesting point. This guy is saying that the service actually costs a lot of money. And the fact that you're getting it for this cheap of a price, people don't think that this is a cheap price, but it is a cheap price. Depending on where you're ordering from. If you're just ordering from like down the street, sure, it might be astronomical to ask for certain prices. And that's why you see a lot of people give no tips on something that you're going like a mile for. Because in their head, they're like, I used to order from a store right down the street and I would only tip the guy $5. Now I'm getting service charges on top of my food, service charges on top of the service. And then I also have to tip. They're going to be paying $15 for a $15 meal, twice as much as money as what you're supposed to be paying for it. I understand that point. I actually do understand that point. But if you're ordering from a service that's like 20 miles away, technically that service costs a lot of money. And honestly, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, they're actually not charging the customer as much as they should. And I actually think in the future, this is not going to be the case. In the future, after all of this monopolization happens, I actually do think all these prices are going to be going up. Maybe not for like the smaller orders. They might catch on. They might make some points where they're like, hey, well, these smaller orders, let's keep the price low. If they're smart, if these companies are smart. And then orders that are like you got to go 10, 15 miles, they're going to jack the price up. You shouldn't be able to order delivery from those places without the prices going up.
The latest data from the Secretary of State's office show Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Postmates, and Instacart have spent more than $184 million combined campaigning for Prop 22.
It is very David and Goliath, if you will. These billionaire corporations spending so much money to exempt themselves from basic labor protections. It tells you what it's worth to.
Prop 22. This is the thing that my state, Massachusetts, and other states are trying to pass. This is going to be a problem. I like being an independent contractor, right? Especially people that don't care about benefits from being an independent contractor, such as myself. I have a full-time job, which a lot of people are like me. We have full-time jobs. We have benefits from other jobs. We don't need all of these protections. All these people that are trying to fight for us to not be independent contractors, they don't know what they're fucking talking about. They've probably never done gig work a day in their life, and they're trying to give us insurance and stuff. I know some of you might want insurance from this job, but you have to understand, if you get insurance and benefits from this job, you are going to be treated like an employee. You're going to have to be on a schedule. You're going to have to do certain things that the company wants you to do that you're not going to want to do. That's not something I'm looking forward to. I want to continue to be an independent contractor, be able to work whenever I want, and not have to do ridiculous tasks, not be forced to take certain orders. That's what's going to happen. All this like dash by time and stuff like that, this is just a segue. People think that this is something they're trying to do to make you happy. No, this looks like a segue into what they're trying to do in the future. They want to give you an increased hourly wage. Earn by time. They're gonna. That's why in different areas they have it higher for some people and lower for some people. For me, it was $15.50. I've seen other places do $11, $13. They're testing you out. They're testing out what's going to be allowed and what's not going to be allowed. I don't want this to pass. I think increased wages, fine. But Prop 22, I don't want to not be an independent contractor.